did not like this book as much as I enjoyed The Girl on the Train. I read them both back to back, so The Girl on the Train was still pretty fresh in my head, and I had pretty high expectations going into this one. Wasn't that great. Not gonna say that it's not good, I just feel like with this book there was a lot of things going on, and it was just, there was a lot of things going on. But yeah, keep watching if you want to know more about what I think about In a Dark, Dark What by Ruth Ware.
This is spiritual warfare that you have been dealing with. This is not a fight that you have been dealing with flesh and blood, but this is a fight against principalities and evildoers and unclean spirits.
RTJ3 motherfuckers.
It was a little hard to follow at some points. You get introduced to a lot of characters right away. This is more of a psychological thriller, mystery, suspense type of book. So if you're into that, you're not going to be disappointed. Leading you up to suspense was done really well. There's a lot of foreshadowing, especially in the beginning of the book, to like somebody dying. You get like words like splatter, kind of just foreshadow that things are gonna take a turn, and a turn they did. So in this book we are following our main character Lee, or Leonora, or Nora. I think she's called by Nora. Yeah, she goes by Nora now, which is, she does not let people forget it. Nora is invited to a bridesmaids party from an old friend that she hadn't talked to in years. I think she said 10 years. They hadn't talked to each other for 10 years, and she got invited to a bridesmaids party. It was kind of like in a more secluded area. The girl getting married, her name is Claire. Claire and Nora used to be really, really good friends. They had known each other ever since, I think, like grade school, so they were pretty close. It starts to lead up as to what exactly happened, but that kind of takes a little bit of time, and then you start to actually realize why she was invited there, and it was very... It's just a lot. It's a lot. Like this book, like go into it knowing that you're going to be getting a lot of information. So just take that as you will. So the bridesmaids party is a weekend filled of fun games. Every single time they do something or get together throughout this weekend, you're just like, something's going to happen. Like, reading it, I just had like this sensation that something was going to happen, and I just didn't know what, and I didn't know when, and that was the main reason why I kept reading, was because I wanted to keep finding out what the fuck was going to happen. And when something does happen, I wasn't even expecting it, because I was just like over it at that point. I was like, great, that's exactly like what we need right now. So before I go like any more in depth of like what the actual book itself is about, Nora is a like detective fiction writer. I can't really say too much because there are so many things that happen in this book, and I feel like any more information that I give you guys, I'll kind of, not that I'll give anything away, but I feel like it's better to just go in not really knowing too much what's going on. But the main premise is that Nora is basically, you know, in a secluded fucking cabin with a group of people that she hasn't spoken to either ever or in 10 years. So it's very uncomfortable from the very beginning, and there's a lot of like tension, and you kind of don't really know exactly who it is that you should trust. I think that was like the biggest thing that I actually liked, because you didn't know who to trust. Everyone was like a suspect. With this book, I would recommend you to read it because it is a good read, but I wouldn't say that it's one of the best written books. Like I keep mentioning, it does give you a lot of information, and it kind of gives you unnecessary details for certain characters. We get focused on certain characters for no reason that don't really have much pertinence to the actual storyline, and that's what was really disappointing, because I would much rather, instead of learning more about one character or them spending time on one character, I would much rather just have the pace quickened a bit more. From the very beginning, you do get two separate storylines, because you're getting the actual events from that weekend, and then you're also getting Nora's perspective in the present, and it seems that she's like in a hospital bed. She doesn't know what's going on, and I think that's kind of also what led me to want to keep reading. At first I thought it was excerpts from her actual, like, her own novel that she was writing. I thought she had gotten inspired from the hen party, that she went in and wrote a novel after it, but that's not really the case. So I feel like if you guys go in thinking that, then you'll probably get a little confused. So I'd rather just like clear that up for you guys, because apparently it was pretty clear when I was reading like summaries and stuff on it. They already included that anyway, so it's not like I'm really giving you guys a spoiler. The storyline basically takes place with once they get to this secluded cabin, one really huge thing happens, and then that's from there, that's when we get to the present time where she's in the hospital, and then they're all trying to figure out like who done it type thing. It's really difficult because this book, like, it's not terrible. It's not the worst book I've ever read. I don't know, like, I feel like there was so much potential for this book, and it didn't satisfy me as much as I thought it would have. There's dialogue that goes on that's kind of, like, odd. You get a lot from characters that you don't really need to get information from them. Like, that was what really disappointed me, because I'm just like, why should I care? This isn't something that's like even relevant to the story. That would be like my biggest thing, and like the pace of the book itself is really slow. I don't think we needed to spend that much time in the cabin.
This is spiritual warfare that you have been dealing with. This is not a fight that you have been dealing with flesh and blood, but this is a fight against principalities and evildoers and unclean spirits.
RTJ3 motherfuckers.